Minglava and welcome to My Radio's Myanmar Today. I'm Michelle with the recent news and reports from around Myanmar. Piede and Thora Swesing got the latest report on fewer people seen going outside in Yangon as stay-at-home order extended. Yanai and Mandalay will give us all the details on health tests carried out in Yangon as infections suddenly surge. Piotiri and Zweman also have the story on Myanmar's arts and crafts see decline in demand from home and abroad amid COVID-19. David Tanner has the full story on Mandalay's art and crafts sector adapts new form amid COVID-19 pandemic. All of these reports will be coming up on Myanmar Today. But for now, let's take a look at what's happening in local news. Union Minister for Health and Sports Dr. Myanmar Today attended the first day of 73rd Sections of World Health Organization Regional Committee for Southeast Asia on 9 September through video conferencing. During the section, the WHO Regional Director discussed the organization's annual report on activities in Southeast Asia in 2019. Director General for WHO, Dr. Tedros Adhanom, discussed the current COVID-19 outbreak in the world and plans for further WHO support. Union Minister Dr. Myanmar Today commented on the annual report of the Southeast Asia Regional Office that the challenges and lessons learned from the report must be taken into account of the next 2 years action plan of the Southeast Asia Regional Office, and he urged to study the contents of the report and to consider to have the significant impact on the public health sector in the respective countries by taking technical assistance from WHO and to give practical advice to the regional office to make the WHO assistance more effective. Then the WHO Director General, Dr. Tedros Adhanom, and the WHO Regional Director for Southeast Asia pledged that WHO will keep cooperation with the regional countries in conducting the COVID-19 response measures. Thailand, alternative host country, announced the ministerial declaration on collective response to COVID-19, and all the health ministers of 11 Southeast Asia member regions agree with it. The Ministry of Religious Affairs and Culture and Lee Jun-do Foundation donated cash assistance for the medical staff taking care of the government officials who are put into quarantine in Union Territory, Naypyidaw Council on Thursday. At the donation ceremony, the Ministry of Religious Affairs and Culture, the Department of Religious Affairs donated 4 million jets. The Ministry of Religious Affairs and Culture, Department of Culture donated 4 million jets. Lee Jun-do Foundation donated 3 million jets, totally 11 million jets, and responsible person from Ministry of Health and Sports received the donation. An All Nippon Airways relief flight brought 133 Myanmar citizens from Narita International Airport in Japan and landed at Yangon International Airport on Thursday evening. Another relief flight of Myanmar National Airlines arrived in Yangon, carrying 140 seafarers who have signed off from a ship of JSM International Shipping Company Limited and stranded in Korea under the arrangement of Myanmar Embassy in Seoul and JSM International Shipping Company Limited on the same day. As they arrived in Yangon, officials from the Ministry of Labor, Immigration and Population, the Ministry of Health and Sports, and the Yangon region government held for their 21-day quarantine period in line with the regulations of immigration and medical checks. For the repatriation of Myanmar citizens who were stranded in foreign countries by relief flights and charter flights, in accordance with the instruction from National Level Central Committee on Prevention and Control of COVID-19, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs cooperated with the relevant ministries and Myanmar embassies from respective countries. That's all with the local news. Now we'll move on to our first report. The Ministry of Health and Sports issued the stay-at-home orders in 21 more townships of Yangon on 9 September after imposing an order on the first 7 townships on the 1st September. Total of 28 townships of Yangon are under stay-at-home order as part of efforts cutting off the spread of the COVID-19, as the infection rate in the region is getting higher.
As the COVID-19 confirmed cases are rising in Yangon region, especially more patients without travel history nor contact with the positive patients are found. The Ministry of Health and Sports announced on 9th of September that 21 townships of Yangon are under stay-at-home order starting from 10th of September in order to contain the spread of the virus. After the announcement, few numbers of people can be seen on the roads of Yangon compared to the previous days. Myanmar Today representative from Chaudhara Township said.
This is the second time stay-at-home order issued by Chaudhara Township. During the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak in Myanmar, our township was also under stay-at-home order, so we have much experience how to deal with it. Starting from today, when the order comes into effect, we will do preparedness for about 2 days. The ward administrators will alert and urge the residents to follow the stay-at-home regulations. We will ban the gatherings and the relevant development committee releases notice for food shops. We will perform the tasks in accordance with the regulations released by the Ministry of Health and Sports. I want to urge the people to be careful and to just stay at home. Staying home helps a lot in measures to control the spread of the virus. This is a must to follow the stay-at-home order.
Except the government employees and other employees of organizations, companies, factories, and workplaces, all the residents have to stay at home. For grocery shopping, 1 person per household is allowed and 2 persons per household for going to clinic. Anyone going outside has to wear a mask. In each ward, only the vehicles of transporting employees are allowed. 1 person on vehicle and the driver are allowed for grocery shopping, and 2 persons on vehicle and the driver are allowed for going to clinic. This is the second time announcement of stay-at-home order after the resurgence of the infection started in the mid-August. On 1st of September, the Ministry of Health and Sports has already imposed stay-at-home order in 7 townships, including Tinkanchon, Insay, North Oklapa, Takeda, Bazundao, and Minglato. Dr. Myanmar Today is head of Department of Chaudhara Township Department of Public Health, and he said.
When people are staying at home, the contact among them becomes fewer. That helps in curbing the spread. The spread of the virus becomes less and less if there are no contacts among the people. The preventative measure is simple, just to stay distant apart from each other, to wash hands after touching the objects, and only 1 person to go outside for necessary reasons. If everybody follows such measures, it will be effective for the containment of this communicable disease. The experts said stay-at-home plan is the best, and it usually is, since there are a lot of silent carriers who we cannot know are carrying the virus. It is necessary to follow the preventative measures. Stay at your home, and even if you are going outside, please wear a full set of prevented items. In this way, we can cut off the spread.
Usaho, a resident from Chaudhara Township, also expressed his worries.
In our family, only those who are working for our shops are going outside of the house. Our children are staying at home, and we strictly don't allow them to go outside and deliver the food to them. We are quite worried. We always wear masks when I go outside. I keep listening to the news and I have worries.
Now, a total of 28 townships of Yangon are under stay-at-home order, starting from the night of 16th of August, when the resurgence started with the local transmission. There are 1,635 confirmed cases until the morning of 10th September. In the whole country, there are over 2,000 COVID-19 confirmed cases.
That's the report on fewer people seen going outside in Yangon because of stay-at-home order extension. Preventive measures against COVID-19 are scaled up in Yangon as more positive patients are found. One of the tasks, medical examination, is being carried out on a basis of self-reliance measure in some townships. A basis of door-to-door scheme is set up in order to avoid crowd while testing health conditions.
As infection rate rapidly surges, medical examinations are being carried out on a small scale in Yangon region. At the time present, the government has imposed stay-at-home orders in the township where necessary and other restrictions as part of preventive measures against the domestic resurgence of COVID-19. All of the restaurants have been instructed to provide the takeaway service in addition to the semi-lockdown orders. For the time being, Yangon, the most populated city of Myanmar, is experiencing rising number of COVID-19 confirmed cases day by day. So medical examinations are being carried out on a basis of self-reliance measure in some townships. The medical examinations are aimed at worldwide measure. The local authorities, in cooperation with the Red Cross Society and town elders trying to avoid forming the crowd, are carrying out health tests on a basis of door-to-door scheme, said Upomo, number 10 ward administrator from Baberan Township.
ဒီကရွေးကြရတော့ဗျာအားလုံးမြို့နယ်တွေအများကြီးမှဖြစ်နေတဲ့ပုံမှာကျွန်တော်တို့
The main purpose is to educate the public to stay home and to perform preventions and protections while there are no cases in our ward, as there are a lot of cases in other townships. Staying at home is the best answer, but we need to wear masks and to have our body temperature tested. The main purpose is to educate the public. Our administrators, the members of Red Cross Society and the volunteer teams are all collaborating in the anti-COVID-19 measures. To avoid forming the crowd, we are divided into 4 teams and there are each 2 teams in a street.
Mainly measuring and registration body temperature, health conditions such as sore throat, coughing, and whether they can detect the smells or not are the tasks they performed. U Ching-wei from Baberan Township Red Cross Society said the collaboration of the residents was very satisfactory in performing health checkup activities as they are informed in advance by using hand speakers.
We need
to prevent before it happens. Although the pandemic has happened, we need to try to minimize the risks as much as we can. We were collaborating with healthcare organizations and general administration departments of the respective townships. The local residents happily participated in performing health checkup activities. This is safer for the aged who are over 18. We try to avoid the crowded situations following social distancing rules. We ourselves have done medical checkup matters so that we can perform this kind of activities. I am sure that we can fight against the COVID-19 in unison as much as we can. We need to try not to feel depressed over the current situations.
အတက်နိုင်ဆုံးပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒါလေးတွေကလည်းစိတ်ဓာတ်မကြဘူးเนาะစိတ်ဓာတ်မကြဘူးဆူတောင်းရင်းနဲ့လှုပ်ဆောင်ရမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်
Healthcare checkup activities were started in Baberan Township on 8th of September. According to the reports, health test activities were carried out in 6 wards on 10th of September, and they will continue testing for the rest of the wards. Talking the resident from Baberan Township said.
I would like to say to thank and appreciation to all for kindness and giving healthcare services patiently to us. I felt afraid when I read the news before, but now I feel so happy and satisfied for compassionate treatment and services. I wish all next generations can possess healthy and happy life. Actually, this is virus disease, although there is no vaccine to cure. Therefore, right now we are suffering to fight like a war. But we have to abide by and follow the healthcare guidelines and measures announced by the government. This pandemic will be disappeared. At present, I feel so pleased to see the preventive measures performed with unity and harmony against COVID-19 outbreak in our ward. If we do not follow the instructions and health guidelines, the virus disease will be worse than the present time.
မဟုတ်ရင်တော့ဆက်ပြီးတော့စိုးတဲ့ဆိုပါမြင်တယ်လေ
In Myanmar, there are over 2,000 COVID-19 confirmed cases, according to the announcement of the Ministry of Health and Sports issued in the morning of 10th of September.
That's a report on health tests carried out in Yangon as infections suddenly surged. Stay with us as we bring you more reports on Myanmar Today. The exporters expect to receive some orders from international market in coming December and January. But now, the resurgence of the disease makes the businesses in arts and handicraft sectors stagnant. At the same time, the domestic handicraft market relied on the orders from the religious occasions and pagodas facing some tough conditions for long-term existence in the industry.
A number of tangible and intangible arts from the earlier century are still being preserved in Myanmar. At present, Myanmar's arts and crafts industry is under threat due to shortage of skilled labor and a drop in demand from home and abroad. Efforts are being made to develop the handicraft industry under a 4-year project from 2018 to 2022, with the aim for seeking increasing global demand. As a result, any domestic handicrafts, including marble carving, wood furniture, cane, bamboo, and other handicrafts, have been exported to the international market. Currently, in the wake of COVID-19, many small-scale and medium-sized businesses are severely facing the difficult situation. Myanmar is deputy chairman of Myanmar Arts and Crafts Association. He told MI Radio the current conditions of handicraft export market.
The handicrafts export to international market has stopped completely at present. For the domestic handicraft market, some shops have been reopening since 2 months ago. At the time, the slave force is not so bad in the handicraft market. Now, the resurgence of the disease makes the handicraft shops be affected. Even though we have numbers of orders from international market, we can't purchase many handicrafts due to the policy. But to deal with the situation, we are submitting the proposal to the government. But now the pandemic occurs, we have stopped operating all these projects. As we can start operating the businesses for the sake of the staff, some workshops have invented the commodity handicrafts with fair price for domestic market. The buyers from Hong Kong are also interested in these commodity handicrafts, but we have difficulty in transportation and policy issues.
Myanmar also added that they expected to receive some orders from international market coming December and January, but now the resurgence of the disease makes the businesses in arts and handicraft sectors stagnant. At the same time, the domestic handicraft market relies on the orders from the religious occasions, and pagodas are facing some tough conditions for long-term existence in the industry. Josonai, a craftsman cam handicraft shop owner, said.
Some shops still get order for the gold leaf from the customers, but there are not many craft orders during this pandemic. But I'm still running my business for some pre-orders before. Most of the customer orders are Buddha statues and gold plating of nut statues, like Great Grandpa, Bomingong, and Bubu All. It is hard to say that our orders are coming from one specific region, as most of the customers are Buddhist people around the country.
Go Antu is a craftsman with over 20 years' experience in the arts and handicraft market. He shared the struggles facing the craftsmen during the pandemic.
Most of the orders from my customers consist of Buddha statues and others like elephants and horses, etc. The raw materials are really difficult to find these days as there is no more wood selling in the market. As there is no potential customers, there is no order of handicrafts for more than 4 months. Before COVID-19 period, I got moderate numbers of orders from my existing clients and there were not too much worry at all. My daily income was average 15 to 20,000 jets at that time. It is too difficult for me to earn a little amount of income for daily expenses. I am too worried about basic needs of my family.
It is a certainty that demand from local and international market would revive production of handmade goods and create jobs for the people. While the neighboring countries are making significant headways in the industry for handmade products, the country is making concerted efforts to penetrate into the global market. The government is working on the establishment of the Myanmar Arts and Crafts Center as part of efforts to find an export market for Myanmar arts and crafts.
That's a report on Myanmar's arts and crafts see decline in demand from home and abroad amid pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an immediate impact on the financial situation of our local art organizations and individual artists in the way of travel and mass gathering restrictions for health measures. With that said, we'll find out how Mandalay's art and craft sector adapts new form amid COVID-19 pandemic and hear out the voices from various perspectives of art sector in Mandalay, including from the art training center's trainer to street artist.
The COVID-19 pandemic had a sudden and substantial impact on the arts and cultural heritage sector. The global health crisis and the uncertainty resulting from it profoundly affected organizations, operations, as well as individuals, both employed and independent across the sector. Go Bai, who is the trainer of Bantu Sanda Art and Crafts Training Center, also told MI Radio about the range of how COVID-19 impact on art and cultural heritage sector of Mandalay, which is of course the city of Myanmar's classical arts and culture.
Okay, COVID ကာလအတွင်းမှာတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဈေးကွက်အခြေအနေကတော့ online ပေါ်မှာ
In the current situations of COVID-19, the market for arts and crafts shifts from physical sales to online rather quickly. As an individual, I have also initiated an online market by opening a page to offer an online art classes to beginners and intermediate who would like to learn arts even amidst COVID-19 quarantine. On the side of arts markets in regards to sale, it is quite cold and still here in Mandalay, even though some artists tries to work around by uploading their artwork online and trying to set up a marketplace.
Gozo Bombai also added on regarding the online teaching and learning sector of art and how it works in this flow of COVID-19 resurgence.
As our center focuses mostly on training and teaching for art, some difficulties such as not being able to gather people become a strain for us to process the training classes with a chain interaction from physical to online classes. We have to face lots of different challenges from the trainee side and of course from the trainer side like myself. We have to adapt the new way of teaching, precise tutorial for trainees to follow through the whole section. But for the normal art say market, there might be even more challenges in regard of authenticity and the feeling of not being able to feel and sense or see the painting, drawing or art in real life for the potential customers might become a setback to purchase certain artworks.
Many individuals across the arts and crafts sector would temporarily or permanently lose contracts or employment with varying degrees of warning and financial assistance available. We will look the art sector in other perspective. This time will be from Go Yi, who is an individual freelance street artist, for his perspective and how the COVID-19 circumstances impact the overall situation of his career.
As an individual freelance artist, the impact is huge for me in a negative way, as I solely depend on paying and giving service for each individual's project. The process of having a project or not is equal to how the potential customers of mine, such as restaurants, warehouses owners, etc., are having their regular income or not. It also became absolutely difficult to travel around the country, so most of the time I suddenly lose my contracts in these circumstances. For now, I am thinking on new ways to survive until the situation has been controlled. But you never know when it will end. So I will just be hoping for the best and try selling fast and easy aesthetic arts on street for now to sustain my everyday life.
ကျွန်တော်ဝင်ငွေမရှိဘူးပေါ့ဗျာဝင်ငွေမရှိဘူးဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ကြတော့ဒီကျွန်တော်နုပညာနယ်ပဲအသက်မွေးဝမ်းကြောင်းပြုတဲ့အခါကျတော့ထွက်ရတဲ့အခါကျတော့ကျွန်တော်ဝင်ငွေမရှိဘူးပေါ့
With the voices from various perspectives from arts and crafts sector in Mandalay, we could make a verdict that the current situation of individual artists has been in the state of struggle until the situation eases for the good.
That's a report on Mandalay's art and craft sector adapts new form amid COVID-19 pandemic. And that's all we have for today's report. And it's time to check on some international news here on Myanmar Today. Three people died in a wind-whipped Northern California wildfire that has forced thousands of people from their homes while carving a 25-mile, 40.2 kilometers path from restrictions through mountainous terrain and parched foothills, authorities said on Wednesday. California Highway Patrol Officer Ben Draper told the Bay Area News Group that one person was found in a car and apparently had been trying to escape the flames. Fire officials said at an evening news conference, hundreds of homes and other buildings are believed to have been damaged or destroyed by the blaze northeast of San Francisco. Since the middle of August, fires in California have killed 11 people, destroyed more than 3,600 structures, burned old-growth redwoods, charred chaparral, and forced evacuations in communities near the coast, in wine country, and along with the Sierra Nevada. Thick smoke Wednesday choked much of the state and cast an eerie orange hue across the sky, as thousands of people in communities near Oro Valley were ordered to evacuate.
Our number one priority for this fire is the protection of life and property. We really need you to pay attention to any instructions on evacuation, as the fire is likely to move south towards 6 communities.
The All China Journalists Association Thursday issued a statement voicing strong condemnation and firm opposition to Australia's gross violations of the rights of its journalists by searching and seizing items from the residences of 4 Chinese reporters. In late June this year, Australian security and intelligence staff raided, searched, and questioned 4 Australia-based journalists working for Xinhua News Agency, China Media Group, and China News Service, seizing their computers and mobile phones, read the statements. This behavior of the Australian government grossly violates the legitimate rights in news reporting, personal rights, as well as property rights of Chinese journalists based in Australia, and seriously disrupt the normal reporting activities of the Chinese media in Australia, read the statement. With the virus spreading in France at its fastest rate since its emergence in the country, the government is discussing the possibility of bringing in local lockdowns. British scientists have created a 4-level scoring model for evaluating the risk of death for patients hospitalized with COVID-19, saying it could help doctors quickly choose the most appropriate treatments for each patient. Despite the pause in trials, the AstraZeneca should know whether its vaccine worked by the end of 2020, as long as it can resume trials soon, the drug maker announced on Thursday. Predictions for Germany's economic contraction amid the pandemic this year have been cut. with Economy Institute, DIW, estimating the decline would be 6%, instead of its previously predictions of 9.4%. Pope Francis, the leader of the Roman Catholic Church, on Wednesday was seen wearing a mask for the first time in public. He told a limited crowd that no one should seek political or financial gain from the pandemic, including vaccine developers. And that's all we have for today. Thank you very much for joining me on Myanmar Today. I'm Michelle. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.